Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us tonight with what we are liking to call Dinner with the Diffs. So we're trying to keep our families connected. We have our iPad edition starting now at 6:15 and our Chromebook edition coming up next at 7:15. So we've realized that we're getting calls and emails still about logging in and app information. So we kind of want to go through for this part a day with your iPad, what that's like, and kind of show you what some of that logging in stuff looks like. And if things start going wrong in this situation, who will you reach out to? So, Karen and myself are with you tonight for this iPad edition. And one of the first things that we want to address is we saw people saying when we posted on social media about not having a device. So, we want to put this out there that all Hope County students should have a device. So, if you are an B day student, excuse me, your device pickup is from the school. And if you have issues with your iPad or Chromebook, those can also be handled at the school by your teacher or media coordinator. If you are a HCS online student, your initial device pickup, so if you haven't got one yet, your initial device pickup is from your home school. And then if you have any issues with that device, then you would bring it to us. So anytime you're getting your initial device, that happens at your home school, regardless which student that you are. If you have any issues in this process, please email us at dtif@hcs.k12.nc.us so we can get that sorted out. So we want all students to have a device. So let us know if that becomes an issue. Also, in order for our devices to work or for you to be able to do your assignments, we got to have Wi-Fi. So if you are in a situation where you do not have Wi-Fi at home, please let your home-based school know that you need internet. They fill out the paperwork for you, and we will get those orders filled. If you have a hotspot and you are having some issues like connecting, so all of our hotspots are set up, or we want our hotspots to set up where they can connect. The issues come if you have a Chromebook and an iPad using the same hotspot. So we don't have our passwords where you can see them on our hotspots because they're only intended for our Hope County issued devices, and that's so that you don't run out of data. So if you have an iPad and a Chromebook in the same house, you're going to need to get up with us, email that diff email. You're going to need to bring your iPad to our warehouse so that we can get you connected to your hotspot. So that's only those people who have iPads and Chromebooks in the same household sharing a hotspot. Otherwise, you guys should be able to connect. But if not, please reach out and let us know so we can get that resolved. And then also bandwidth issues. So you do have a set amount to use for the month. So that's why, again, other devices can't connect to our hotspots. And it's intended for schoolwork and not other outside things. So even saying that, Zoom can eat up your bandwidth. So just make sure when you guys are using your hotspots that it's for schoolwork so that can be conserved. So our plan for tonight, go through some tips for keeping your iPad running smoothly. We want to talk about logging into Canvas and Seesaw or other apps that you have to log into or may need. So we're going to briefly show you what that would look like, give you some naming protocols so you know your username and password, and then Karen's going to show us on the iPad what that looks like logging in. At the end, we'll have a little bit of question and answers, but along the way, throw those questions in the chat here. Our team that we work with is also waiting in the chat to help you guys. So along the way, put your questions there. They'll address what they can. And when anything that's left over, we will take care of that at the end of the session. You also may want to have your phone to take a picture or something to write with. So as we go through these username and password protocols for the different apps, you can get that. But if not, don't worry. We're saving this video. We will have it posted, or you can always come back and get it on the YouTube channel if you need to come back and get that information. So first thing we want to talk about is the maintenance of your iPad. We got to stay up to date to keep running smoothly. So to do that, you want to go to the little settings gear. When that comes up, you want to go to general, and then you want to check the software update. But pause if you have your iPad right now. Don't update if you need one. That takes a little bit of time to do that, to get the download and get it applied and restart your iPad. So just my personal preference, if I need to do that, I do that at night. because it does take a little bit of time. So you want to make sure, like this one, you can see in the image, if you've got that little red notification there, it needs an update. So click that tonight so it'll be fresh in the morning. So staying up to date. Also, in order to get an update, you have to have available space on your iPad. So that's for updates or for getting apps. If you want to add more to your iPad, it's got to have space to do that. So if you need to check that or you notice something's not downloading, again, you're going to go back to your settings app, general, same place, but instead of the software update, we're going to look at iPad storage. So when you click iPad storage, it takes you to the screen here where you can see that bar at the top, and that lets you know how much available space you have or what is using most of your space. You also see a list of apps down here, so you can scroll through these and see when they were last used or never used. You see how much space it's taken up, so you can click those apps, click on one and delete that app to clear up space on your iPad. So we're going to pause for a second so that Karen can walk us through what that looks like on the iPad.
Okay, thanks, Shanna. So I'm going to show you an actual live version of the iPad. You can see my iPad does have that red notification as Shanna was speaking about, and I'm not going to update it right now because that would end what I could do for the session here. But I click on the gear, go to software update, and you can see that mine actually says install now. So if I was going to update this one, I'd go ahead and click that, and it can take a little bit of time. A few other things about running an update. You'll see that my iPad has 64% battery level, and so it would be fine to run this. If it's below 50%, an update will not install. And the best practice is to actually plug in your iPad when you're going to do an update. That way, you're sure that you don't run out of battery power in the middle. So that's just a really good practice, is to keep your iPad plugged in when you're going to update. You also, when we talk about the memory, let me go back there. You need to have 4 to 5 gigs of memory available for an update to actually run. So always keep that in mind as well. If the iPad gets too full, the update it will not run. Okay, so let me show you there really quickly. Also, go back to general, go to iPad storage. And again, you can see that this one has 13 gigs free of 32. So I have plenty of room to run my update. But if I didn't, I could come here and choose an app. Say this one, Epic. It says it's never been used. I can click here, and then I have my delete app. Now, a few things to note. There are some apps that are pushed out from the district, such as on these devices, all of these, and I'm going to talk just a second about kindergarten devices, but some apps, even if you're a first or second grade student, they're pushed out from the district. So even if you delete them, when the iPad refreshes, it's going to come back. So it's the apps that you actually add from self-service, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and to free up room, or some of the Apple apps like Maps or GarageBand. Those eat up a lot of memory, and generally our younger students don't use those apps, so you can delete those. But for kindergarten devices, those are newer. They have a new management system, which the teachers have let us know what apps are needed for teaching for our kindergarten students. So all the apps you need are pushed out. You don't really even have to worry about any of this. Your iPads have plenty of space, and so everything, you really don't have to worry too much about that. First and second grade, however, you guys may end up running out of space because of the ability to add apps. So this may be something that you have to take care of. All right, Shanna, back to you.
Okay, so let's talk about our learning management systems on the iPad. So our pre-K, kindergarten and first graders are using Seesaw, and our second graders are using Canvas. So this is where you'll go to see maybe announcements from your teachers or get your assignments. So we want to make sure that you can definitely get to these locations. So our pre-K through first grade, you're using Seesaw. So what you want to do is click the Seesaw app. You want to make sure you click on I'm a student and then enter the code. That code has to come from your teacher. So if Seesaw's acting up or when you click on the app, it doesn't open, email the diff so that we can help you with that. But if you need that code to join your teacher's classroom, the best route or the quickest way to get a response is to email or let your teacher know about that. If you're struggling with that, feel free to reach out to us and we'll find out which teacher and we can kind of get everybody in one email thread. So Seesaw app, I'm a student, enter the code from your teacher, and then you'll be connected and be able to see your assignments. So we're going to pause and Karen's going to walk us through that real quick.
Okay, so Seesaw, I'm going to go on my iPad and go to the Seesaw app. Now, one thing you'll notice, this says class app. That means it's the app that's for the student work. That's where the teacher's going to post everything. But when I click this open, when it opens up, you will also down at the bottom, it'll say families get the Seesaw Family app. That's available on iOS or Chrome, like for your phone. And this is where you as a parent can communicate directly with the teacher. That's what that is intended for. With the home learning, you do get more information actually in the class app. But the parent app is also a great feature to have that you can put on other devices to keep up with all the things that are being posted for Seesaw. So anyway, I go to I'm a student. Then you can see I have the place to enter the code. It's a pretty long code. I'm going to go ahead and type that in. Um, this is a pretend student for me, so I'm okay with letting you see this code tonight, but actually for your students, this is like a secret password. You don't ever want to share this or post your student's code anywhere because you don't want anyone else to be able to access your student's account or information. So you don't do this with your secret code, what I'm doing now. I'm going to hit go. And I want it to notify me. I can click that to get notifications sent to me. And this is what the dashboard looks like for Seesaw. You'll see that the work, all my students' work is showing up here. The teacher normally, when they post assignments, it's going to show up under the activities tab. So you would click here. And then messages back and forth from the student to teacher show up here. So everything is here. When your student needs to add information, this green plus is the common denominator here in Seesaw. You just hit the green plus, you get the work tools, and you can go ahead and get started with Seesaw. So that's it. That's how you get into Seesaw. Okay, Shanna.
Perfect. So now let's talk about Canvas for our second graders. This looks a little bit different. So when you go to the Canvas app on your iPad, you want to make sure you click on, this is the very first time if you haven't been to Canvas yet, you want to click on Find My School, start typing Hoke, and you will see Hoke County Schools. So make sure you click the one that says students and teachers. But I am going to pause real quick and ask the team if someone can put the pairing code information in the chat. So if you do have this on your phone or what they're about to send out tells you how to do it through the web browser, you can go to Canvas and you can also connect as a parent to be able to observe your child in Canvas. But for students doing work, they want to click on student and teachers, and then it will take them to what we call rapid identity. This is our single sign-on place where they can go to get to Power School, SchoolNet, and so this is going to take us to Canvas. So our iPad students, put in your username will be your student ID, and their password is going to be a pictograph password. So they will have 3 pictures. If it's the first time setting it up, you'll pick the 3 pictures, put in your password, and then from now on, you just have to select those 3 pictures. So if you cannot log in, please let your teacher know they can reset your rapid identity password. But of course, if you can't get in and can't get that resolved at the school, email DTIF again. We'll get you reset and get those pictures, help you get those pictures set up. So student ID is how you get in. Those pictures become your password afterwards. And then you are at your dashboard where you can select all your classes, select the one that you need to go to, and get your assignments. So again, if you cannot log into Rapid Identity, please email your teacher and or email us at DTIF. And we're going to pause and let Karen show us how to get to Seesaw. I'm sorry, Canvas.
Okay, so the Canvas app is pushed out automatically to our first and second grade devices. So you should see Canvas on the iPad. and you just click it. As Shanna said, you're going to see Find My School. I start typing in Hoke, and I can see Hope County Schools parents and then students and teachers. And so of course you want to go through students and teachers, and then it comes up to rapid identity. I'm not going to actually put in anything for rapid identity just for privacy for a student, because you have to actually have a real student information to show that. However, I will show you, here is Canvas actually logged in on an iPad. You see the courses just like you saw on the static screen there. If I click my course, it's going to open up. I see my homepage. The student activities are normally in modules. You would go to modules, and that's where you would see your students' work would show up there. Then the charms here on the left-hand side, their inbox would be where communication happens between student to student, student to teacher, teacher to student, but they can only communicate with people who are within their class in Canvas. So that's good to know. There's no outside communication that can happen there. And then once I get, your student may be in one course or they may be assigned to more than one, but to go back to my dashboard, I just click dashboard and it takes me right back there. And I can even drag my courses around, which I can't do it very easily right this second, but and move them around those so that to make it make more sense. There's lots of things to do to customize your Canvas dashboard to make it work better for you. So that's Canvas.
Perfect. So now let's talk about apps. We've mentioned them a little bit before. So depending on your grade level or your school, you might have apps all spread out across the screen. You might have folders like where you find literacy apps and math apps or Google apps, communication apps. Also, you'll see those dots at the bottom sometimes. So if you will swipe left or right, you might can see other apps on other home pages. And each of these apps, your teacher may tell you in Canvas or in Seesaw to go here and complete an activity, and they also require separate login information. So we want to make sure you all have that protocol so that you can log into those if your teacher redirects you to here. So we're going to go through each one of these real quick. We're going to start with iStation. The first time you log into iStation, it comes up with this configuration page. You want to start typing your school, and you'll see it come up, and you want to make sure you select the one for Hope County. After the first time, you'll see, like if I select Upchurch, you'll see that it saves that, and you just have to type in your username and password. So for iStation, your username is your whole first name and the first initial of your last name. So if you have more than one last name, it's going to be the first letter of your first last name, like in this example here. And your password is the first four numbers of the student ID number. So we're going to pause here. Again, if you have time, write this protocol down, take a picture. If not, this will be posted, or email us at DTIF and we'll send you these protocols. So we're going to pause here and let Karen show us how this looks on the iPad.
Okay. All right. So, and I want you to notice this is a kindergarten setup iPad that I have displayed right now. And so the apps are, they're arranged a little differently depending on what school you go to. They're set up specifically for kindergartens in every school. So this is a Don Steed actually iPad. So that's how the apps are set up. Now you don't see iStation here. iStation is a literacy app. So it actually is in this literacy folder. So I have to click the literacy folder to get to that. And then you'll see the iStation app. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up.
Please enter your username and password.
And as Shanna said, you can see that I have already logged in one time on this one. So I'm going to change the school, and that'll give me a chance to show you what this actually looks like from here. So I'm going to do Upchurch, just as she did, and I'm going to choose Hope County. So it's easy enough. And then do
Please enter
OK.
your username and password.
And now I'm back there. Now, one of our staff members' child has been gracious enough to let me use him as his accounts tonight for this training. So I'm going to go ahead. So thank you, Braden, for allowing us to do that. And so his first name is Braden, and last initial M. And I'm going to kind of do this for the first four. So trust me that is what I am typing in here. I typed in the 4 of his lunch number, and now I'm going to press OK. And there you go. You see iStation starting up, and he can click on whichever tile he needs, and he'll be ready to go.
Cool. Thank you for that, Karen. That is iStation username and password here. Next, we're going to talk about the ClassWorks app. You can see that app up there at the top. Here, your login information is your username is your student ID, and your password is the word student. So let's go back and see logging into ClassWorks.
Okay. And ClassWorks is a little different. It's not actually an app. It is what's called a web clip on the iPad. So it just is a direct link that will take you to the ClassWorks page. You'll see that that comes up. And so again, I have to type in the student number. So I'm going to go here, get my keyboard to come up, and I'm going to, again, type into my friend's account so that you guys, let me cover this real quick. And let me put in the student number. Okay. And then the password is actually the word, just the word student, all lowercase. Like that. Then I do sign in. And now there is ClassWorks. You can see all of his assignments, begin something, take a test, look at a progress. And so there is all of his activities in ClassWorks.
Perfect. Next, we're going to talk about Reading Horizons, which actually has 2 apps, like one where they can go in and do some learning, and then like a games portal in that. So it's the same login to get in both places. For this one, when you click the app, you're going to need your site ID. We do have a list of site IDs on the next page, so I'll get you that for your school. And then your user ID is your child's ID number. So once you type that in, it'll pop up, is your child Braden? And if so, you would click yes to proceed. So I'm going to give you those site IDs really quick, give you a chance to jot that down or take a picture. And then when we come back, these will pop back up again. So we're going to go see that on the iPad.
Okay. All right, again, Reading Horizons is a literacy app, so you don't just see it up on the front page. You actually have to go into the literacy folder. And again, depending on what device you have, it might actually be on the front page. But if you don't see it, check those folders to see if the apps may possibly be there. You'll also see there are 2 apps for Reading Horizons. There's a Clubhouse app, which is where the lessons occur. And then there's a games app, which is more of a supplemental app that goes along with the program. So I'm going to show you the Clubhouse app. And again, I have already, let me clear that side ID so that you can see what I'm talking about. So once those IDs that we're going to show for you again, the ID for Upchurch is actually the word. And then the student ID is the user number. I'm going to cover this just real quickly so I can type the student number in. Okay, and once I do that, let me bring this down, and then you just hit the button login. Oops, hold on just one second, guys. Sorry. That's one problem with covering it up. I didn't see what I was covering up. Hold on, let me type it one more time. All right, let's see. Hopefully this time got it right.
Is this your name?
Okay, is this his name? Yes, that's my friend Braden, so that's his name. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. And then,
welcome to Reading Horizons Discovery.
And then you'll see, and then it talks a lot. So let me take you out of that so we can get back going. But that is how you get into Reading Horizons.
Ta-da! Thank you. So again, here are your site IDs. Grab those or come back again to get those after we're done with the live. So let's talk about attending a Zoom session. This is if it's in folders, maybe in your communication folder, or it could be pinned to the home screen. This is where your kids will go to be face to face with their teachers when they're at home. So you want to make sure, I didn't say it earlier with the apps, but you want to make sure anytime you're using your iPad, if there's an app there, use the app. It runs so much better than going through the browser. So sometimes the Zoom link is shared with your kids in a URL, like right down here. You don't want to click that URL. You want to go to the app, click join a meeting, and then this meeting ID, it's a number. So if they share a link with you, it's this number here at the end, or the teachers may just share meeting ID and give you the number. So again, click that Zoom app, join the meeting, and then type in your meeting ID. Karen's also going to show you right here to change your name. So we don't want Zoom bombing to happen. Our teachers want to see our kids' first and last name so that they know when you first go into Zoom, it puts you in a waiting room. And our teachers will admit students in. So that's why it's good to be early and on time because they have to go through and admit everybody to keep all of our babies safe. So let's go take a look at this on our iPad.
Okay. Like Shanna said, you always want to go to the app. So the Zoom app is normally up on the homepage. If you don't see that one in our first and second grade, Zoom is not pushed out. It would be one, if you don't have it, you go to self-service to get it. And we're going to talk about that in just the next couple of minutes. But you see, when I opened it, it gives me the option to join a meeting. I'm going to type in, this is actually my meeting ID, but I'm going to type that in. So I'm going to admit myself. You can see here, this actually was blank. I haven't figured out how to get my name to not be remembered on this device, but I want to go ahead and type my name in so my teacher knows who I am. I'm going to hit join. And then you see there, I'm getting in there. I can join with video. I can join without video. And then it's connecting. And I think, and now you'll see it says the host will let me in soon. That's because I'm in the waiting room. Again, I would have to go and admit myself to go ahead and get into the Zoom meeting. But that's what Shanna was talking about. When you see that, it's perfectly normal until the teacher actually admits your child into the room. All right.
Perfect. So when it comes to those apps, if you don't have, or I'm sorry, not don't have, if your user ID and password that we've talked about with these protocols aren't working, the best person to reach out to is your teacher. All these are set up at the school level, so they'll be able to find out what it is faster than we can. But again, if you reach out to us, we'll get the appropriate people in the email chain and we'll get this figured out for your students. And if you have trouble, like you don't have the app or something, let's go there, talk about how to get this next. So again, apps is the way to go on here, but what happens if our teacher says, I need another app and I don't see it on there? So kindergarten, your teachers reach out to us to get that app for you. Any other students, first and second graders, you have that self-service app. You click on that and then it has a list of pre-approved apps for our county that you can add to that. So again, you're going to have to make sure that you're up to date and that you have space to get that app. So if you notice you're not using something, make sure to clear that stuff off so your iPad will keep running smoothly. For our second graders, it won't be like this forever on Canvas. We do understand it is a little bit harder on our iPad. One thing that makes this easier, if your teachers are using Google Tools, Slides, Google Docs, Google Draw, go to self-service and get those apps, and that will allow you to see your teacher's presentations or work on your assignments if they're in one of the Google platform documents. So make sure you go get those in self-service. And if that stuff, like you try to load it and it won't get on you don't get the app on there, check that space. That's normally the problem. So let's stop here and go take a look at self-service.
Okay, again, as Shanna said, you won't see self-service. If you're a kindergarten parent, you won't see self-service on your iPad. But here's what the icon looks like. You click it. The very first time you'll have to accept their policy and procedure. But after that, you'll see there's lots and lots of apps. And one thing just to be aware of is that our students really enjoy opening all those new apps, and it will absolutely fill up your iPad and you will have issues. So just keep that in mind that as a parent, we don't want to encourage them. We want to encourage them to use the apps, but we also know that if they put too many, the device will have issues. So I'm gonna just, whatever app it is, maybe the teacher requests, you just start typing it in. It'll start pulling it up. Like I would like to do. I did Moose Math. That's what I was doing last night. So it's already installed. So let me show you one that isn't installed. We're going to pretend like I just searched Word Wagon. So it's asking me here to install it. I just hit install. You'll see it spinning. That means it's thinking. One thing I would like to say is that it's when you're working on a managed device, it is not quite the same as like your iPhone or your Android phone, where you go get an app and then all of a sudden, like just instantaneously, almost it appears there. With a managed device, there is some delay because it has to go through the program and get pushed back out to your device. So if it spins a little bit, it could be that it's needing time to think and to install. But you'll see how quickly that one came up. That is actually a literacy app. So it is set up to go into our literacy folders. There it is, Word Wagon. I've installed it. Now I can click it, and now I can go into that app. So that is how you use self-service.
Perfect. So let's talk about troubleshooting. We've mentioned this a few times, but if you're trying, an app isn't working or an app or something isn't downloading, check for an update, or check the amount of space that you have available. And remember, that's in that settings app, general, and both of those items can be seen there. Or you might need to do a hard reset on your iPad. We kind of laughed last night. We all need a reset from time to time. Our phones, our iPads, our Chromebooks are all the same way. For your iPad to do a hard reset, you want to hold down the power and the home button, hold it down for a few seconds. Your fingers might start to hurt. That means you're doing it right. And you'll see the apple appear. When that happens, release those and your device will restart. And it's just weird how that kind of takes care of things sometimes. So make sure you try those three items. If that doesn't work, please reach out to us or your teacher, and we will try to figure out what's going on to get that resolved for you. So just a reminder, device pickup. We don't want not having a device to be a problem. Initial device pickup from your school. Take it to your school if you're an A or B day student to get issues fixed. Contact us at the DIF email to get any other issues handled. We work with an amazing team and the tech guys, which aren't even on here, but we'll do everything we can to get you set up. We also have a remote learning hub. So if you go to Hope County Schools website, scroll down till you see that remote learning icon. When you click on that, it takes you to our remote learning hub. We've got places for parents where you can go and see frequently asked questions, portals for students. I need help with Canvas. If we've heard it, we've put it on here to try to help you guys have all this information in one place. So I know we've ran over a little bit. Let's check in with our team and see if any questions were in the chat that didn't get resolved. Not seeing anything come through, so we are, I believe, going to wrap up here. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight for Dinner with the Diffs. If you've got some Chromebook questions, stay on. They will be back up at 7:15. Hope you guys have a good evening. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Good night. Thank you.